Good morning,
Good
class.
morning, ma'am.
Yesterday we discussed about short story, right?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Yes, because for today, our new lesson is somehow related to what we discussed yesterday. But before that, I have here a short video clip about sequencing. Okay, so what you are going to do is to identify which comes first, next, and last on the pictures. Okay, is that clear, class? Again, what you are going to do is what we call the sequencing. You are going to identify which comes first, next, and last on the following pictures on our video clip. Is that clear?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. So, are you ready?
Yes.
So, let's start. First pictures. Okay, so which do you think comes first, next, and last? The girl looking at her grown flowers? Or the girl planting seeds? Or the girl watering her plants? Which do you think comes first, next, and last? Okay, so let's see which comes first. Very good. So how about the next pictures? Okay, so which do you think comes first, next, and last? Okay, so look at the pictures. So which do you think comes first?
Second. Third.
How about last? Okay, so let's see which comes first. Very good. So how about the next pictures? Okay, so third one. Which do you think comes first, next, and last?
Fourth. Next.
Which do you think comes first? So let's see which comes first. Very good. So let's proceed to the fourth pictures. Okay, so next. Okay, so it's like a marathon or a running race. So which do you think comes first, next, and last? Look at the pictures. Which do you think comes first?
The middle.
Okay, so let's see which comes first.
First. One.
Very good. So how about the last pictures? Okay. So the children are like playing a hide and seek. So which do you think comes first? How about last? Okay, so let's see which comes first, next, and last. Very good, class. You got all the right sequence of the pictures. And because of that, kindly please stand up and let us give each other a good job clap. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Good job. Okay, so thank you. You may now take your seat. Let's now proceed to our new lesson for this morning. And that is everybody kindly please read sequencing events. Okay, so thank you. It's all about sequencing events in a story. That's why I prepared a short story we will read later on. So we are going to retell the story with the right sequence of events. So that at the end of our lesson, we can be able to determine the proper sequencing of events in a story to appreciate the value we can get, and also we can be able to retell the story with the right sequence of events. So, is that clear, class?
Yes, teacher.
So, are you ready to listen?
Yes.
Okay, so, but before that, again, what are our rules when teacher is reading a story in front? Sit properly,
Sit properly,
hands on the desk, pay
pay
attention, and
listen
listen carefully. Okay, very good. Class, when we say sequence, it is the order at which events takes place. Okay, so understanding the sequence of events in the story would help us understand the flow of what is happening and why does it happen in a certain story. So here is the short story I prepared, which entitled Tower to the Moon. I will going to read it and you will listen carefully, because afterwards we are going to retell the story with the right sequence of events, and I'm going to ask you questions regarding this story. Is that clear, class? So are you ready?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so let's start. Again, listen carefully. Caribbean is a group of islands surrounded by waters. On one of those islands lived a king who was ruthless. If he said he wanted something, he had to have it. One night, when he was looking out the window, what do you think the king saw, class? When he was looking out the window and looked up to the sky, what do you think the king saw?
The moon.
Yes, it's the moon. He saw the moon in the color of silver and immediately said, I want to reach it. A few days went by. He was thinking and thinking. How can I reach that silver moon? Then it occurred to him, I need a tall tower to reach it. So the king thinks a tall tower could help him reach the silver moon. That's why on the next day, he called a royal carpenter and said, I want you to build a tower so tall that it could reach the moon. The carpenter knew that he shouldn't be disagreeing with the king, but he pleaded, Your Majesty, it is impossible. The tower will crumble before it reaches the moon. And guess, class, what the king said?
What is it, teacher?
The king said, There is no such thing as impossible in this kingdom, shouted the king. I want you to come back tomorrow morning and give me your plan how you're going to build the tower. The carpenter knew not to say anything else, so he left. He knew how to make nice furniture, but he had no idea how to build such tall tower. He thought and then looking at his furniture and said, I know I will pile up lots of wooden chests up to the sky. The following day, the carpenter presented his idea to the king. Great idea, said the king. He ordered his royal staff to search all the houses in the kingdom for strong chests. If somebody refuses, said the king, what do you think will happen, class, if somebody refuses to give their wooden chest to the king?
The king will punish them.
Yes, because the king said, if somebody refuses, then remind them that if they don't like to share their wooden chest, then they'll be sharing a royal prison rules. Scared people wouldn't refuse the king, so they handed their chests. Once all the chests were collected, a tower started growing outside the palace. It was a very unique and colorful tower filled with smaller, bigger, carved and painted chests. It was almost like a rainbow trying to reach the sky. Unfortunately, all the chests in the kingdom, what do you think happened to the chest, class?
All broken.
Yes, all the chests in the kingdom were not enough to reach the sky. So the king ordered the carpenter to make more chests. The carpenter got busy with making more chests and piling them up. Unfortunately, all the wood in the kingdom was not enough to reach the sky. So the king ordered the carpenter to cut all the trees. Can you see, class, how determined the king to reach the moon? That he can even order to cut all the trees in the kingdom. So the carpenter pleaded, "Your Majesty, we can cut all the trees." "What do you mean we can't?" yelled the king. "There is no such thing as can't in this kingdom." So the carpenter knew not to say anything else. He left to cut all the trees. He got busy with making more chests and piling them up. It seemed as the tower was reaching the sky. "It's time to reach the moon," said the king, and started climbing the tower made of chests. He reached the last chest. He stood on his toes, stretched out his both arms, and he almost touched the moon. "We need one more chest," shouted the king. "Your Majesty, we don't have any more chests, any more wood or trees," pleaded the carpenter again. "Can't you think of something else, or do I have to think for you?" yelled the king. "Just pull one chest from the bottom and bring it to the top," ordered the king. The carpenter couldn't believe what the king was saying. "If I pull a chest from the bottom, then the whole tower will crumble. He can't be serious," thought the carpenter. "Did you hear me?" hollered the king. "As you wish," answered the carpenter, and he pulled the chest at the bottom. Do you know what happened to the king, class, after pulling the chest at the bottom?
The king fell over to the ground.
Yes, he fell and got lost among all those tumbling chests, and that was the end of him and his ruthless ruling. And that was the end of the story, Tower to the Moon. Do you understand the story, class?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
Don't worry if you did not follow well the flow of our story, class, because I will now give you 3 minutes to reread the story before we proceed to our discussion, okay? You may now begin. Do you now understand well the flow of our story, class?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
Very good, class, because it is very important to know the proper sequencing of events in a story for us to be able to retell it to others with the right sequence of events. And in order for them to easily understand the flow of what we retell. Because sequencing of events in a story would help us better understand a story. It traces the important events in the beginning, then the middle, to the end of a story. Sometimes, class, not knowing the right sequence of events could lead into misunderstanding. That's why it is very important to know the proper sequencing of events. Okay, so is that clear, class?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
So, do you have any questions regarding our story? Yes?
Did the carpenter help the king?
Probably no, because the king got lost among all those tumbling chests. Okay, so anyone else? If you have no more questions, I will the one who will ask. Okay, so for my first question, again, what was the king's wish in our story? Yes, A.
the king's wish is to reach the moon.
Yes, she's right. The king's wish is to reach the silver moon. Let's give a very good clap One,
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Very good. Okay, so thank you. And you may now take your seat. For the next question, what did the king order the carpenter to do? Yes, B?
The king ordered the carpenter to build the tower.
Yes, he's right. The king ordered the carpenter to build a tall tower. So let's give B a angel clap. Okay?
One, two, woot, woot. One, two, woot, woot, woot.
Okay, so thank you, B. You may now take your seat. And for our third question, did the carpenter able to do the task at once? Why or why not? Yes, C?
No, because he faced a lot of problems.
Yes, it's a no because he faced a lot of problems while making the tower. Let's give C a fireworks clap.
One, two, three. One, two, three.
Boom! Okay, so thank you, C. You may now take your seat. And for our next question, can you give one problem the carpenter encountered while making the tower? Yes, D?
The chests are not enough to reach the sky.
Yes, that's right. What else? Yes, E.
There's no more trees that are left in the kingdom.
Yes, they are right. The problems that the carpenter encountered while making the tower is the chests were not enough to reach the sky and there's no more trees that are left in the kingdom. So let's give them a roar clap. Okay, so one, two, three.
One, two, three. One, two, three. Roar.
Okay, so thank you. You may now take your seats. For the next question, the moment the tower finished, did the king was finally able to reach the moon? Why or why not? Yes, H?
No, because they need one more chest to reach the moon.
Yes, it's a no because they still need one more chest to reach the moon. So thank you, H. Let's give H a mosquito clap. Okay, so
One mosquito, two mosquito, many mosquito.
okay, so thank you, H. You may now take your seat. After finishing the tower, the king was still not able to reach the moon. That's why what the king ordered the carpenter. Yes, G?
The king ordered the carpenter to pull one chest at the bottom.
Yes, that's right. Because the chests are not enough to reach the moon, the king ordered the carpenter to put one more chest at the bottom and bring it to the top. So he will be able to reach the silver moon. The reason why the whole tower crumbled. Is that right, class?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. And for our last question, if you were the king, would you do the same? Why or why not? Yes, H?
No, because I might fail and get hurt.
Yes, you will surely fail and get hurt if you will do the same like what the king did. But the king did not think of what might happen, the reason why the whole tower got crumbled and biggest glass among all those tumbling chests. Because class, before we do something, we must think first if it's good for us or good for others. So we will not end up like what happened to the king. Is that clear, class?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
teacher.
Do you now understand very well the flow of our story?
Yes.
Very good, class. It seems like you now know how to sequence events. So let's now try to apply what you have learned in our lesson. So I have here a short selection entitled In a Minute. So you are going to read it. Then afterwards, you are going to sequence the events as they happened in the story by writing numbers 1 to 5 in the space provided. Is that clear, class?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
teacher.
Again, you are going to sequence the events by writing 1 to 5 in the space provided. Okay, so bring out your papers. You don't need to copy everything. Just write your answers, okay? So you may now begin.